Today's article comes from the July 17th, 1970 Palante newspaper. The article is on page 16. It's called Free Palestine Now. The Western capitalist world has always looked with greedy eyes toward the Middle East. The industrialized West, looking for natural resources, mainly oil, and countries in which to invest money, began to close in on the Middle East countries in the early 1900s. In 1917, the British and the Zionists are those Jewish people who push for a state for Jews, signed a document called the Balfour Declaration, which said that a state should be created for Jews. After World War I, Britain and France divided the Middle East among themselves. Britain was given an area called Palestine, which was 90% Arab, backed by France and the USA. Britain held Palestine against the desires of the Arab people until a mass Zionist immigration from all over the world could produce a Zionist state. To make sure the British Zionist conspiracy succeeded, the Palestinian people were refused the right to self-rule within their own country, just like Puerto Ricans in Borinquen. Naturally, when a people are refused the legal rights of government, they turn to armed struggle as the only way to freedom. Arabs revolt. For 3 years, beginning in 1936, the Arab peasants of Palestine revolted against the invasion and colonization of their country by the Western countries. This revolt was viciously suppressed. In 1948, the Arab states also fought against the Zionist government of Israel. But the Arab states were defeated. The defeat of 1948, because the governments of these Arab states were just trying to stay in power, along with the imperialists trying to sabotage the Palestinian liberation struggle. Because of that defeat and the guilt feeling of the Western countries after the murder of 6 million Jews in World War II, the State of Israel was created in 1948. After this date, the Palestinian and Arab liberation movement saw their main task as destroying the feudal and bourgeois governments in their own countries so as to create an independent economic base from which to build a popular army capable of waging a long, difficult war. During this period, the Arabs living in Palestine were forced to move out of their own homes by being gunned down in the streets or having their houses burned down. The Zionists made no attempt to hide the fact that they wanted a pure, white, Jewish state. The government of Israel has been so racist that even Jews of a darker color who came to Israel from other Arab countries were and still are being discriminated against. In order to hide the fact that they were murdering Arabs, Israel began to put out racist lies about the darker Arabs. One of the lies that the Palestinian Arabs would have gone along with their program had it not been for some of the fanatical agitators who stirred up the people. Capitalists always tried to divide and conquer. They tried to isolate the Revolutionary Party from the people by spreading lies so that the people will reject their own warriors. This same thing happened to the Young Lords Party, especially after the Puerto Rican Day Parade. The pig press stated that moderate Puerto Ricans should step on us every time we do improper things like throw eggs, tomatoes, and lettuce at a pig like Venda Patria Fair. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look that up and put a picture here. We agree, it's not the proper way. The people should have kicked his ass, mugged him, and then brought him over to El Barrio and forced him to work as super of a building on 111th Street. This article is even better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, world Jewry accept the Zionist lies, particularly America KKK and Jewry. One wonders whether Jewish people learned anything about the nature of the oppressor after the concentration camps and murder of their people during the Nazi regime. It seems all they learned was to be even more oppressive towards the Arabs. Living in fear and guilt with the knowledge of having robbed land and lives isolated from Europe and the USA, the government of Israel launched another attack on the Arab world in June 1967. For 6 days, the battle raged and Israel emerged the victor. The land that they had wanted to steal for so long was now theirs. The Golan Heights from Syria, the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip from Egypt, and the West Bank from Jordan, all of this is Arab land. So I want to point out we're not talking about all Jews, we're talking about Zionists, okay? The Arab government apologizers tried to explain away the defeat by saying that Israel had better guns and airplanes, but why is it then that the Vietnamese are kicking ass against the super-armed USA? The feudal bourgeoisie governments allowed their own people to be killed because of the conflicts in their own countries. How can a ruling class that exploits their own peasants win a war? How can you win a war with the majority of your people suffering from your own hands? But the Six-Day War also produced the Fedayeen and the Palestinian guerrilla. Though they started secretly because of the Arab reactionary governments, they began to initiate guerrilla actions behind Zionist lines. The Arab ruling classes tried to stop them, but the Fedayeen proved they were serious in their threat to eliminate any obstacle in their path. They almost toppled the Jordanian government led by King Hussein. 3 organizations have taken the forefront of the Palestinian struggle: Al-Fatah, the Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine, and the Democratic Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Al-Fatah sees fit to receive money from the feudal states because their only interest is the return of Palestine to its original inhabitants. Abu Omar, leader of Al-Fatah, describes his organization as a group fighting a national liberation struggle where how much money one made before the Israeli takeover of Palestine does not matter as long as one fights the Zionists today. And on the next page is the same article in Spanish. I love how this is a bilingual newsletter. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Free Palestine.